In blockchain basics, we're going to go over a 101 style primer on blockchains, smart contracts, NFTs, the different use cases, the different types, and the overall ecosystem. And the purpose of this section is for anybody that really doesn't know what blockchain is or doesn't quite understand what blockchain is, or is having a hard time grasping these concepts. If you already know, go ahead and skip forward. But if you don't, this is a great little primer on kind of what to expect and maybe a better way for you to visualize what all this shit is. Uno, dos, tres, and erase. So blockchain. You've heard of it. You probably have an understanding of what it is. You've probably heard people call it a distributed ledger. I've talked about it being a big ass spreadsheet, like a huge Donald Trump style spreadsheet, the biggest spreadsheet the world has ever seen, literally, because that's what essentially it is, right? Database, whatever you want to label it, whatever you want to call it. It's a massive network of computers connected together that holds the core instructions and elements that make up this system, right? All these different nodes that connect to it are, people like you and me, miners, software applications, etc., etc. They all get a copy of this little ledger. Therefore, it's immutable, it always exists, it's decentralized, everybody can do their thing, right? There's no centralized source. And what they mean by this is that instead of the data being owned by a particular company, not going to name any names, the data is owned by all of the people within the network. It's simple as that. Blockchain can be public. It is public. It also can be private, meaning, big companies, can create their own blockchain networks and use them for different things. And we'll talk about that later on. When you think about the blockchain itself, it can be hard to grasp, it can be hard to visualize. So I think, if you've never heard of, whatchamacallit, the Sierpinski triangle, that might be a great visualization to help you kind of think through this. If you are, a database engineer, a spreadsheet wizard, it might be simpler to grasp. Accountants, you could make sense of this. Financiers, you can make sense of this. Business people pounding the keyboard, sales guys, this is numbers, right? It's not complicated. When you think about the nodes within the network, the nodes are like cells within a spreadsheet or cells within a database. Those cells contain information. That information is either a mapping to another cell or to another spreadsheet, or it's literally just straight data, right? The blockchain is the same way. The block is a ledger that gets filled with rows. Those rows have columns and cells. Those columns and cells have bits of information that's either mapped to another block, etc., or is filled with data. Once that ledger or block is full, reaches its maximum capacity, a new block is created and then connected, thus alluding to the term blockchain. So if you think about it, right, if you go into Sheets, if you go into Excel, if you go into SQL, any type of structured, document like that, you max out on your rows, 1,000 rows, I don't fucking know. You got to go to a new sheet. Same thing with the blockchain. Capiche?